YouTube, Lunalights, clapping, incog. This Sean Matrai back with a Lunalight deck profile and replays. Alright, so Lunalights are a deck. If you've been under a rock or you haven't played Duel Links back then, I got you. Lunalights are a deck that are fusion based. They focus on OTKing your opponent, and they have a lot of them have built-in targeting, and some have destruction protection. Some have both. We're gonna go over them, and we're gonna go over what the deck does as a whole. All right. So first, you'll notice about half the Lunalight archetype has cards that activate monsters that activate and have two effects. I just kind of repeated myself there, but they have two different effects. One, when they're sent to the graveyard by the card effect. So if you played Tier Element before, works just like the Tier Elements. They have to sit by card effect, not by cost. And they have an effect that allows you to do another thing. Perhaps generally in the graveyard. That's mostly where they happen. And that's about half of them. I'm going to go over those select ones right now. So we have Crimson Fox. If this is sent by card effect, the card effect when it's sent by card effect to the graveyard, it targets a monster that your opponent controls, reduces it to 0. Martin searches a Lunalight spell trap. That will be your fusion. Your Emerald Bird, sent to the graveyard by card effect, will target the Lunalight graveyard and banish, special summon it, negate its effects. Those are the ones that are going to do that. Now, the ones that differentiate are Blue Cat, Butterfly, and Rabbit. So Rabbit allows us to revive a Lunalight on summon. Also, while in the field, we can target spell and traps. Do not need to be set. Your opponent controls up to the amount of Lunalights you control, up to the number of other Lunalight cards you control, excluding Lunalight Rabbit himself, and allow us to bounce those spell and traps back to the hand. Great ways to play around Book of Moon. And I'll go over how you're going to play around Book of Moon necessarily with that, as well as like baiting out battle faces and stuff like that, and making the most out of that. Blue Cat is our brand new Lunalight, and this one, unlike your other predecessors, has another effect, has two effects. It has first effect, when it's destroyed by battle or by card effect, it is a window. Will be ahead. Go ahead and summon any Lunalight out of the deck, and you will get to trigger their effect. Second effect, when this card is special summoned, you can target one Lunalight on the field and double its attack. Now, this is very useful with both Rabbit and Butterfly, because you can Butterfly summon out of the hand, trigger its effect, boost up a Lunalight fusion, but basically double its original attack. Or you can special summon via Rabbit, double Lunalight's original attack. You will see that in the replays I am going to show you. Also, on top of that, I did not go over, before we go over Butterfly, the other effects of the other Lunalights that I didn't talk about. First of all, Martin, its other effect, while in graveyard, bounces back Lunalight on the field, and then special summons itself. Now, it gets banished when it leaves the field. Now, what's very important here is if you it has to go back to the end. Think Gokis, okay? So essentially, if you bounce back a fusion, you can't summon Martin. The fusion will go back to the extra. You don't get to summon Martin. So it has to go back to the ant. So generally, any of your standard Lunalight monsters. Also, Crimson Fox, while in the graveyard, when a card of effect would target one monster Lunalight you control, you can banish this. Both players gain 1,000 life points to negate the effect. Now, keep in mind this can miss the timing. So, in other words, let's say your opponent has chain blocks. Now, if you don't know what chain blocking means, chain blocking is an advanced mechanic, which means that two trigger effects are activating simultaneously. So, for example, if your opponent was playing Dark Magician, and they have a Rod in their graveyard, and they trigger Circle Rod on your turn, Rod will chain block Circle because it activates immediately when the banish is occurring. Thus, the last thing that happened in that chain is the effect of Rod resolving. So since the targeting effect to banish is the last thing, Fox does not get to protect your monster from being banished. So you want to be very careful with that. If you, I know a lot of times in a lot of you may see your opponent activate like 2 quick plays in simultaneous. So you might see, oh, he activates book and then lance. That's not chain blocking. All right. So you may say, yeah, but what if they have like book and lance in the same chain? That's not chain blocking. Every time your opponent activates a card or effect, unless you have 2 simultaneous triggers, you always have the opportunity to respond. Okay, player priority passes back to the opponent. So for example, if I activate a Book of Moon, you are in turn allowed to chain to that. Alright, so that's very, very important. Alright, that you understand that mechanic. That was very, very important during something like Heartbeat meta, where you would try to chain block a Cyber/Heartbeat lady for the bounce. Alright, so technically what would happen is, let's say you activate, your Heartbeat player activates the lands, you chain like a Thunder Dragon Dark, and then you're chain blocking. That's the difference. Because the last thing to happen is a monster effect and not a spell effect, which Cyber/Heartbeat can only be chained directly to a spell effect. So that means after priority passes to your opponent and they say no, then you can activate your effect. So some advanced rulings there that you need to pick up on when it comes to Fox. Also, Bird has an additional effect. That effect is on field. When this card is normal summoned, you can discard a Lunalight via card effect and then draw 1 card. The discard is not for cost, because if it was for cost, you would not be able to search. It's part of the effect. Alright? Because you can see the semicolon after the normal or special summon. It actually works on special summon too. Excuse me for that. It works on both normal and special summon. So keep that in mind, and that's very important. Now, we are running on top of that 3 tanky, 3 Lunalight Fusion. If you don't know what Fusion does, Fusion allows us to set basically polymerization when you don't have, your opponent doesn't have an extra deck monster. But if your opponent has an extra deck monster, you could send 1 fusion material from your extra deck or deck to the graveyard. So it's very easy to dump out your Panther Dancer and then suddenly make an untargetable, indestructible Leo Dancer. Alright, so that's very important. Now, before we go over to the fusions and talk about the text, I'm going to go over the skill. So, basically, we're using Lunar Whirler. So, this allows us to add 1 copy of Blue Cat, Pepper Butterfly, and Fusion to your deck unless it already includes 3 copies, so you're not running 4 fusions. And it adds Cat Dancer to the extra, which gives us a little bit more room to work with. Also, each time our life points decrease by 1500, this is better than Destiny Draw. Adds Lunalight Fusion from your hand, deck, or graveyard. This can recover from the graveyard. And after you activate the skill, you cannot special summon except for Lunalights. But it doesn't really matter because you're just killing your opponent anyway. So, as you will see, when we trigger the skill, you're basically winning the duel on the spot. So there's no real need to have, do anything else, really. And it adds Purple Butterfly, which I'm going to go over right now. I'll go over what Purple Butterfly does. Give you 1 sec here. Alright, so Purple Butterfly, this is only run at 1. We don't run additional copies in the deck, because I feel like it's not needed as much. I feel like the 1's enough. And if we start getting 2, we're not going to see our hand traps as much. You send this from your hand to the graveyard. Then target 1 Lunalight on the field. Gains 1000 attack. Also, you can banish it from your graveyard to special Lunalight out of your hand. It's great with the Blue Cat combo, but this doesn't, I feel like this doesn't precede us running hand traps. Okay, now on top of that, we're running Tanky. Gives our Beast Warriors an extra 100 attack. And more importantly, searches the level 4 lower Beast Warrior, which is basically any Lunalight archetype. And then we have White and Trip. White is great in a format that doesn't have links. Trip is really good because it's hard for your opponent to OTK through this. If they run 1 scrap recycler, they cannot even kill through this. Orcus cannot kill through Trip, which is really, really nice. So we can just pass turn. If we're going first, we can pass turn. And then try to kill them on the follow-up. So that can be very good. And it makes it very important that they do their attack order correctly. So we want to run 3 Trip in that regard. Now, the extra deck, we are running 1 Leo Dancer. So if you don't know what Leo Dancer does, it takes Panther Dancer plus 2 Lunalight monsters. You're using Lunalight Fusion to summon this, and you're sending Panther for the extra deck to the graveyard to get out your big boy. Now, 1 Panther Dancer plus 2 Lunalights. This cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects, which is really, really good. No Needle Sealing, no Canadia, no Book, no Crackdown. The only thing that beats you is IDP, and that makes this very, very strong. Or like a bottom, not even bottomless, like a Floodgate Trap or something like that. But nobody's playing Floodgate in this meta, so there's that. So Leo Dancer comes out, cannot be targeted or destroyed. Also can make a second attack during the battle phase, which is really, really strong, honestly. On top of that, we also have additional effects. When it makes it can make a second attack, and once it destroys, once it attacks the monster, you can, at the end of the damage step, destroy all special summon monsters your opponent controls. So that is very, very nasty. Double attack, boom, boom, you're in for the kill. This is your ultimate boss monster, and it shows why. Next, we run Saber Dancer. This card is very, very good. It takes 3 Lunalights to make, so you don't need a special Lunalight out of the extra deck. Gains 200 attack for each Beast Warrior that is banished in the graveyards. You're going to see in the mirror matches I play that there are no cards that you boost up from both. So if your opponent has Lunalights and you do, you're going to boost. Alright, and that goes for your opponent. They will boost off your graveyard, so be very careful with that. Alright, take that into account. Also cannot be targeted by card effects, so this is still very strong against a lot of different decks. You can't book it, you can't crack down it, you can't compulse it, and it becomes very, very strong for any back row reliant deck to deal with. And also during the main phase, except this to turn this card into the graveyard, you can banish this to target 1 Lunalight Fusion, and it gains 3,000 attack. That is extremely, extremely strong. So this thing can really promote OTKs, and you could send it to kind of follow up your opponent into an OTK as well. Next, we have Panther Dancer. Panther Dancer takes Cat Dancer, plus any Lunalight monster. Panther Dancer cannot be destroyed by card effects, but once per turn, you can activate this effect. During the main phase, Panther Dancer can attack all monsters your opponent controls twice each. When this destroys your opponent's monster by battle, it will gain 200 attack until the end of the battle phase. So this can easily go up by 600 attack and generate OTK potential very easily. All your Lunalights can. It's not even this. Like Saber Dancer, Leo Dancer, all of them can. Now, to go over the final boss monster, final fusion monster, we have Cat Dancer. So if you don't know what Cat Dancer does, it takes 2 Lunalight monsters. Cannot be destroyed by battle once per turn. You contribute 1 other Lunalight you control. For the rest of its turn, your opponent's monsters, the first time that they would be destroyed by battle, they are not. And if it is not destroyed, also this card can attack all your opponent's monsters twice each. And then when this declares an attack, inflict 150 to your opponent. So very, very easy to summon. And this is great to summon in the mirror as well. Next, we run Tiger King. Tiger King can detach 1 material, negates all the cards in the field. This could be very useful against Rocket if you want to negate like Boot Sector Launch. This will negate them until the end of your opponent's next turn. And then this sets Taiki from the deck. 1 Fire Formation Spell Trap. And that could be tanky, and that I feel is very, very good. Okay, so setting Taiki from the deck, very good. Now, next we run Abyss Dweller. Dweller is obviously good in the mirror match. It's also really good against Orchest. Sin, this card can promote OTKs. You can run Rebellion. The extra deck here can be changed out to whatever you feel. Papilloperative, this is great for changing your opponent's monster to attack position, setting up your Lunalight OTKs. And then we have Pentastag. This card's fantastic. Link 2 allows all your Lunalights to have a piercing party. And then go in for some major, major piercing damage. And yeah, overall just really, really nice to be able to make OTKs happen off Pentastag. And you will see that in the replays. Okay, enough of me babbling. Let's go over the replays. And put on some music here.
I activate my...
the replays. I know the last one was a different build, but I wanted to showcase it off anyway, as a way that you can kill with Pentastag in the deck. That's a more aggressive build than runs Serenade Dance, but the problem with that is, like, I feel like it gets easily sacked. Much easier sack. You can see how we beat Orchist when they went first, and they had their full combo, but we managed to kill them anyway. And that's why I was speaking much about the White Princess and the hand traps there, and how that came through. If you want to see a cog climb, make sure you follow me on Twitch. We're going to be doing one before the end of the season. I'm finishing Starries, and then we're on to Lunalights. We're going to do a Lunalight cog before the season ends. So if you don't want to miss that, make sure you follow me on twitch.tv/Sean Matrai. Link is in the description below. If you want to follow my brother Steven, he's also, I'll leave his link down there. He's planning a Lunalight climb as well. So if you want to see his climb and learn from another Lunalight expert, make sure you go follow him. Link in the description below. As always, guys, if you enjoyed the video, like, comment, sub, follow me on Twitch, and bye, YouTube.